After the party, our friends stopped answering. In the group chat, my messages vanished like I'd never sent them, and my best friend said, "You know what you did," before hanging up. Portland, Oregon is all wet sidewalks and coffee lines, but that week it felt like the city itself had turned its face away from me. I'm Dominican American. So is my wife, Marisol. Our friends weren't just friends. They were the second family. One group chat for everything. Kid pics, job leads, gossip, memes, who needs help moving a couch, who's short on rent this month. That Saturday night, we were at Julio and Karina's place in East Portland. Music bouncing off the walls, shoes by the door, people dancing in socks because Karina hates dirty carpet. Marisol was bright all night. Too bright, like she was performing fine. When I leaned in to talk, she'd nod fast, smile, then drift away. I remember thinking, she's mad, but she's saving it for home. On the drive back toward I-84, she stared out the window at smeared taillights in the rain. I asked if she was mad at me. "I'm tired," she said. Sunday morning, I made coffee and checked the group chat. It wasn't normal. At the top, "You can't send messages in this group." Under it, a fresh meme from 7:12 a.m., laughing emojis from people I knew. My own messages from the night before were gone. Cleanly gone, like I'd never typed them. When I scrolled up, I saw rows of the same gray sentence. Message deleted. Message deleted. Message deleted. Like somebody had taken an eraser to my voice. I called Julio. Straight to voicemail. Karina. Ring, then silence. Even Renee, my best friend since high school, the guy who stood next to me at my wedding, didn't pick up. Marisol came out in an oversized hoodie, hair messy, eyes puffy. She saw my face and didn't ask what's wrong. She asked, "Why are you up?" "Did something happen last night?" I said, holding my phone up like it was evidence. She barely looked. "I don't know." A notification flashed on her screen and she tilted the phone away so fast it looked automatic. "Who's that?" I asked. "Nobody," she said. "Just Karina." I went to the bathroom and stared at myself like I was about to be walked out of my own life. When I came back, there was a sticky note on the fridge, pinned under a flamingo magnet. Her handwriting was sharp. "Don't start today, please." I stood there with my coffee cooling between my palms and felt, for the first time, like the apartment wasn't mine. By late morning, the air inside our place got thick, like we were both holding our breath on purpose. Marisol moved around quietly, folding laundry that didn't need folding, wiping a counter that was already clean. Anything to stay busy and not look at me. I tried to keep it from becoming a fight. I told myself it was a misunderstanding. Maybe someone got too drunk. Maybe I said something dumb and forgot. Friend groups have storms. You ride them out. So I did the humiliating thing. I started checking if I'd been blocked. Instagram, Julio, gone. Karina, gone. Renee, user not found. Even the Friends of Friends accounts that used to like our photos were suddenly invisible. It wasn't one person, it was everyone. Around noon, an unknown number texted me from a Portland area code. "You need to chill. Stop acting like the victim. Ask your wife what you did." My thumbs hovered over the keyboard, then froze. What did I do? Looks guilty. Who is this? Looks weak. What you? Looks like proof. I grabbed my keys and said I was going to run out for groceries, partly because we actually needed milk, and partly because I couldn't breathe in that apartment. At Fred Meyer, the normal Sunday stuff kept happening around me. Kids arguing by the cereal, a couple debating which coffee beans were cheaper, a cashier calling out, "Next!" But it all felt staged, like I'd wandered onto a set where everyone knew the script except me. Then I saw Karina. She was by the produce, hair up, phone in her hand. For half a second our eyes met. Her face tightened and she turned her card away like I'd reached for her. No wave, no, hey. Just a clean pivot and an exit down another aisle. I stood there holding a gallon of milk, staring at a wall of oranges, feeling that quiet kind of fear that doesn't look like fear from the outside, the kind where you suddenly don't trust the room you're in. When I got back home, Marisol was at the table with her phone and a notepad, not writing a love note, more like making a plan. She slid the notepad toward me without meeting my eyes. 3 lines. No calls, no posts, no showing up. "Are you serious?" I asked. She finally looked up and her eyes were hard in a way I'd never seen them. "If you care about us, you'll listen." "Listen to what? You won't tell me what's happening." Her jaw worked like she was chewing on words she didn't want to swallow. "You embarrassed me." "With what?" I said, and my voice cracked a little. "I've been with you all year, all week, all night." Marisol's phone buzzed again. She didn't tilt it away this time. She just watched it like it might explode. Then she said, so soft it almost sounded kind, "Stop digging. You're making it worse." That sentence, "Stop digging," made my skin go cold. Monday came anyway. I supervise a swing shift crew at a distribution warehouse near the airport. Pallets, scanners, forklifts, the steady grind that pays rent. I drove past the Max tracks, the sky the same color as concrete, and I kept thinking, if I can just get through the shift, I'll figure out what to fix. At work, my phone stayed dead. No dumb memes, just silence. The silence started to feel intentional, like a door held shut from the other side. 2 hours into the shift, my manager waved me into the office. "Careful. We got an email," he said. "HR wants a statement." My stomach dropped. "About what?" He turned his monitor. A forwarded screenshot, cropped like someone wanted panic. I could make out complaint, hostile, and my full name spelled perfectly. Under it, a photo. Me in a doorway, laughing, one hand on someone's shoulder. The angle made it look intimate. The timestamp was Saturday night, except I was at Julio and Karina's at that exact moment, and the person in the photo wore Marisol's hoodie. I leaned closer, mouth dry, and my manager said softly, "Tell me this isn't what it looks like." My phone buzzed once. Not a text. A voice note from Renee, 2 seconds long. I hit play. All I heard was his breath, then a whisper. "She showed us everything." And then the file ended. HR didn't request anything. HR announced. My manager, Vic, sat me down like I was a forklift accident waiting to happen. Hands folded, voice lowered, eyes already tired. He slid a printed page across the desk. Not the full email, just a cropped screenshot with my name bolded and a subject line that felt like a punch. Concern. Employee conduct. Urgent. Under it was a paragraph I couldn't finish reading without my throat tightening. Words like unsafe, pattern, harassment, and then that photo again, me in a doorway, laughing, hand on someone's shoulder, the hoodie, the angle, the timestamp. "That was a party," I said. "That's not what they're saying it is." Vic stared at me like he wanted to believe me, but believing wasn't part of his job description. "HR wants your statement tonight. They're putting you on leave until they sort it out." "Paid leave?" I asked, already knowing the answer. He looked down at the desk. "They didn't say paid." My ears started ringing. The warehouse kept moving outside the office, beeps, pallet jacks, someone yelling a count, like my life was falling apart in a room nobody could hear. "Who sent this?" I asked. "It came from an external address," Vic said carefully, "but it mentions people. It mentions your social circle. It mentions someone being afraid. Afraid of me, in Portland, in a city where we all pretended we were chill and progressive and above drama, but still weaponized screenshots like knives." I asked to see the full email. He hesitated, then turned the monitor a little more. The sender name was blank. The message was short. "I work with him. I've seen his behavior escalate. If you care about the safety of your staff, look into him before something happens." Attached. Proof. Ask his wife. Ask his friends. Ask his wife. Like Marisol was a witness to something criminal, not my partner who used to fall asleep with her hand on my chest like she needed to feel my heartbeat. They walked me out like I was contagious. Not with security, nothing dramatic, but with that weird, polite distance people use when they're scared of being on the wrong side of a story. In the parking lot, rain turned the world into a smear. I sat in my car and called Marisol. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I texted, "HR is involved. What is happening?" A minute later, my phone buzzed. Not her. Unknown number again. "Told you. Stay quiet. You're being watched." I looked up like watched meant someone was literally standing by my driver's side window. Nobody was. Just wet cars, gray sky, and the feeling of being trapped inside a rumor. On the drive home, I tried Renee again. It rang once, then cut. Not voicemail. Blocked. I tried Karina. Blocked. Julio. Blocked. The whole circle. Gone. Portland traffic crawled like it always does when the weather decides to be dramatic. I passed a MAX train, a line of food carts closing early in the drizzle, a couple arguing under one umbrella. Normal life. My life, quietly being removed from the group chat of existence. When I got home, Marisol was on the couch with her knees up, phone in both hands like she'd been bracing for impact. "Why didn't you answer?" I asked. She stared past me. "Because every time you call people, it gets worse." "I didn't call people," I said. "I called you." Her eyes flicked to mine for half a second. There was something in them that wasn't just anger. It was calculation, like she was measuring what I might do next. "HR put me on leave," I said. "There's an email about me, about conduct. They have a picture. I know," she cut in. That stopped me. "How do you know?" She swallowed. "Renee called me. Julio called me. They're saying things." "What things?" Marisol's jaw tightened. "They said you've been messaging Karina. Late. That you've been showing up places." I let out this short laugh that didn't sound like me. "That's insane." She didn't laugh back. I pointed at my phone. "My messages are deleted from the group chat. Someone changed something. Someone is making it look like I—" "Stop," she snapped louder than she meant to. Then she lowered her voice like the neighbors might hear through the walls. "Stop talking like this. You're digging yourself deeper." "There it is again," I said. "Stop digging. Like I'm not allowed to understand my own life." Marisol stood up, pacing once, then twice, like a person trying to walk off a panic attack. "You don't get it. People already decided who you are." "And you?" I asked quietly. "Have you decided?" She looked at her phone as it buzzed again, not even trying to hide it this time, just letting it rule the room. The screen lit up with a name I couldn't see because she turned it away at the last second. "You're not calling anyone," she said. You're not posting. You're not going to Julio's. You're not going to Karina's job. You're not going anywhere." "I wasn't going anywhere," I said, but even saying it sounded weak. She walked to the kitchen and grabbed the notepad again, flipping it like it was a script she'd written to survive the day. She tore off a page and slid it to me. 3 new lines, sharper than the ones from yesterday. "No contact. No proof. Let it die. Let it die." My hands went cold. The quiet horror wasn't a scream or a slap. It was being told to bury myself alive because it would be easier for everyone. That night, we moved around each other like strangers sharing a hotel room. She went into the bathroom with her phone and stayed there a long time, long enough that I could hear the faucet run, stop, run again, like she was timing something. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I wasn't pressed against the door. I was in the hallway, frozen, because I heard her voice, low, urgent, recording something. "I didn't want it to be like this," she said, and then her voice dropped too much for me to catch the rest. The door opened and she jumped like she'd been caught doing something illegal. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Walking to my own bedroom," I said, "in my own apartment." She stared at me with a look that made my stomach turn. "Don't do that. Don't surprise me." Surprise her, like I'd become a threat just by existing in my own hallway. When she finally fell asleep, her phone face down on the nightstand like a secret. I couldn't sleep. My mind kept looping the same sentence from Renee's voice note. She showed us everything. So I did the thing I hated doing. I opened my laptop and tried to log into our shared accounts, the ones we always used without thinking. The streaming, the cloud photos, the calendar we used for bills and birthdays, and don't forget trash day. My password didn't work. I tried again. Wrong. Then a security alert popped up. New sign-in detected. Location unknown. My chest tightened so hard I had to put my hand flat on the desk. Like if I pressed down, my body would stay together. I opened my calendar app anyway because I needed something solid. A timestamp, a pin, proof I was where I said I was. And that's when I saw it. Saturday night, right in the middle of the party, there was an event I had never created. Meet Kay. 10:07 p.m. Location pinned near the river, nowhere near Julio and Karina's place. My cursor hovered over it like it might vanish if I blinked. Then my phone buzzed with a message from Marisol, sent from 10 feet away from the other room. "They sent me your calendar screenshot. Tell me right now this isn't you." I stared at the screen, then at the bedroom door, and for the first time I understood the shape of the trap. They weren't just telling people a story. They were building it. Marisol's text, "They sent me your calendar screenshot," hit me like she'd found a body and my fingerprints were on it. I walked into the bedroom with my laptop open, hands up like I was approaching a wild animal. "Look at me," I said. "I did not create that event." Marisol sat on the edge of the bed, phone in her palm, thumb hovering over the screen like a trigger. "Then explain why it's there." "I'm trying to," I said, "but every time I try to pull anything up, passwords don't work, messages vanish, and somehow I'm the one who looks guilty for even asking." Her eyes flashed. "Because you keep acting like this is a game, like you can solve it." "It's my job, Marisol," I said before I could stop myself, "to solve problems, to trace what happened. HR just walked me out like I'm dangerous. Our friends cut me off like I'm poison, and you're sitting here like I'm not your husband." Her mouth tightened. The hurt was there for a second. Then the armor snapped back on. "They're not our friends right now. They're my only protection." That word, protection, did something ugly to my stomach, like she'd already accepted a version of me she needed protection from. I opened my laptop to the account security page and turned the screen toward her. See? New sign-ins. Unknown device. Saturday night, right when that fake calendar thing shows up. She leaned in, read it, and for the first time her face wavered. Not belief, not trust, just confusion. Then her phone buzzed again and the confusion hardened into fear. She stood up and walked out of the room mid-breath like she'd remembered a rule she needed to obey. I followed her to the kitchen. The rain outside made the window look like it was crying. "Who keeps messaging you?" I asked. "Nobody you need to talk to," she said, and it wasn't even mean. It was automatic, like a line someone had trained her to use. "Marisol," I said softly, "are you scared of me? Or scared of what they'll do if you don't play along?" Her shoulders rose and fell once. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The silence was the answer. By afternoon, the money part of the fear showed up. Not dramatic, no screaming about bills, just the quiet math you can't ignore. I was on leave, not paid, rent due soon, car insurance, groceries, and in our family, money wasn't just money. It was proof you were stable, proof you were a man, proof you weren't embarrassing anyone. Marisol's mom called at 3:19 p.m. I could see the name on the screen because Marisol didn't have time to tilt it away. She answered and put it on speaker without thinking, then instantly regretted it when she heard my voice in the room. "Ma," Marisol said fast, "I can't talk." Her mom's voice cut through the speaker like a knife through plastic. "Why is he still there?" I froze. Marisol's eyes flicked to me like, "Don't you dare." "Because it's my apartment too," I said, quiet but sharp. Her mom didn't miss a beat. A man who shames his wife doesn't get to claim anything. "Shames her with what?" I asked. Marisol grabbed the phone off speaker so fast it made a little slap sound in her palm. "Ma, stop. Please." I heard her mom still talking through the tinny earpiece. Marisol's face kept changing. Anger, pain, panic, like she was trying to hold two realities at once. Then she hung up. The kitchen was too quiet. Even the fridge hum sounded loud. "You told her?" I asked. Marisol stared at the counter. "I didn't tell her anything. People talk." "People," I repeated. "Who is people?" She finally looked at me and I saw it plain. She was being squeezed from every side. Friends, family, maybe work, maybe something else. And the squeeze was turning into a shape. Me. Because it was easier for everyone if I was the villain. That evening, I left the apartment. Not to show up anywhere. Not to hunt anyone down. I just needed air where my own walls weren't judging me. I walked down to a coffee spot off Burnside where you can sit in a corner and pretend you're invisible. Wet coats hung by the door. Someone typed hard on a laptop like they were mad at the keyboard. The barista called out names like Dylan and Maya and Sky, and I realized how badly I wanted to be a stranger again. I opened my account activity and downloaded the sign-in history. Lines of timestamps, locations, devices. And there it was again, Saturday night, an iPhone I didn't own, active on my account like it belonged there. My hands shook so much I almost dropped the phone. I called my carrier, went through the robot menus, finally got a human. "Any recent SIM changes?" I asked. The guy sounded bored until he pulled up the account. Then he got careful. "There was a request to transfer service to a new eSIM profile on Saturday." My heart stopped. "By who?" "I can't say," he replied, voice suddenly polite. But it was approved with the verification code. The verification code goes to my phone, I said. He paused like he didn't want to say the next part. It was delivered. Delivered. Like that settled it. Like I couldn't be robbed without a gun. When I got back home, Marisol was in the bedroom packing a small bag. Not the "I'm leaving forever" bag. The "I'm going to stay somewhere safe for a few nights" bag. "Where are you going?" I asked. She didn't look up. "My cousin's." "You said I'm not allowed to go anywhere," I said. "But you can." Her hands stopped. She inhaled like she was about to say something honest, then swallowed it. "They told me to." "Who?" I asked again. "Your mom? Renee? Karina?" Her eyes finally lifted. "All of them." That was the second quiet horror, realizing your marriage can be outvoted. She zipped the bag and walked toward the door. I didn't block her. I didn't touch her. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "If you walk out without telling me what they think I did, you're leaving me alone in a story someone else wrote." Marisol's hand stayed on the doorknob. Her shoulders trembled like she was fighting herself. Then she whispered, barely audible, "I saw something." My breath caught. "What did you see?" Her phone buzzed and she flinched like it was a shock collar. She looked down, read whatever was there, and the fear returned instantly. "I can't," she said, voice breaking. "I can't say it out loud." "Marisol." She opened the door and stepped into the hallway. And that's when I noticed something that made my blood go cold. The little green light above our doorframe camera, the one our landlord installed in the hall last month, was blinking. Recording. I stood in my doorway in the rain-lit hallway, watching my wife walk away, and I realized someone wasn't just spreading a rumor. Someone was collecting footage. As Marisol reached the stairs, my phone buzzed with a new email notification from HR. Subject line, all caps. Notice of restriction. I opened it with shaking hands, then heard footsteps behind me in the hallway, coming fast, like someone already knew exactly where I was standing. The footsteps in the hallway came fast, rubber soles on damp concrete, a key ring clinking. I was still in the doorway with my phone open on that HR email, the subject line burning in my eyes. Notice of restriction. I skimmed the first lines while the sound closed in. Effective immediately. You are placed on administrative leave pending investigation. You are not to contact coworkers or any individual named in the complaint. Do not return to the worksite until instructed by HR. My throat went dry. Any individual named in the complaint could mean half my life in one sentence. I looked up just as Renee rounded the corner. He slowed like he was approaching a dog that might bite. Hands visible. Face pale. Hoodie up, even though we were indoors, rain still dripping off his lashes. Behind him was Karina's younger brother, Tito. Phone held low but angled just enough that I knew what he was doing. Recording. Renee's eyes flicked to the blinking green light above the hallway camera. Then back to me. "We need to talk," he said. "On camera?" I asked. My voice came out steady, which surprised me. My insides were shaking. Renee took one step closer. "You don't get to choose the conditions anymore." That sentence felt like a door locking. I stepped out into the hall and pulled the door mostly shut behind me, like the apartment could still be a safe zone if I kept it sealed. "Why are you here, Renee?" He swallowed, like the words had edges. "Because you keep trying to prove things, and you're making Marisol panic." "Marisol is already gone," I said, "and I'm on leave because of an email that tells them to ask my wife and my friends. That's you. That's her. That's this." Renee's eyes tightened. It didn't have to go to HR. It already did, I snapped. Then I forced myself back down. What do you think I did? Say it. He glanced at Tito, then back at me. Karina said you've been pushing, messaging her, showing up, saying stuff that made her feel unsafe. That is a lie, I said. Renee's mouth twitched like my certainty annoyed him. Then why did Marisol show us the screenshots? My chest went cold all over again. She showed you... What? Renee pulled out his phone, opened something, and turned the screen toward me without handing it over, like a cop showing a photo through glass. A chat thread. Karina at the top. My name at the bottom. Messages that sounded like me if you only knew the shallow version. Too familiar, too confident. The kind of lines guys type when they think they're being charming. The timestamps were late. The tone was ugly. And the worst part was the little gray text under one of my messages. Edited. I stared at it. You see that? Renee frowned. So what? So whoever wrote it edited it, I said, voice low. I don't edit texts. I don't even... Renee, I didn't write these. Tito's phone lifted a little higher. Renee's eyes hardened. You always do this. When it's serious, you act like it's some technical thing. It is a technical thing, I said, and then hated myself because it sounded exactly like a dodge. Renee breathed out, slow. Listen, I'm here to end it before it gets worse. By doing what? I asked. He clicked his screen again and held it up. A draft message, a statement, a public apology typed in clean, neutral Spanish and English. It didn't say, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. It said, I acknowledge my behavior crossed boundaries. I apologize to Karina and to the group. I will seek help and give space. My stomach flipped. You want me to confess. Renee's voice went flatter. You want your life back, right? Job, friends, marriage. This is how it stops. I laughed once, short and broken. So your solution is, I admit to something I didn't do, and everyone goes back to brunch like nothing happened. Renee's jaw clenched. Everyone already thinks you did it. That includes you, I asked. The question landed between us like a wet towel. Renee didn't answer it. He just looked tired, like he'd made a choice and didn't want to examine it. I nodded at Tito's phone. Tell him to stop recording. Tito didn't move. Renee didn't tell him. A new text came in while I stood there. Unknown number again. Good. Keep him outside. Make sure the camera sees everything. My blood went ice. I didn't show them the screen. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of watching me realize I was being handled like a puppet. Renee noticed the change in my face anyway. What? Nothing, I said, and then my voice cracked. Everything. I backed toward my door. I'm not signing that, and I'm not sending that. Renee's expression shifted. Less friend, more enforcer. Then you're choosing the hard way. What does that mean? I asked. He lowered his voice. It means Marisol's family is done with you. It means the group is done with you. It means HR doesn't need much to make you disappear, and... He paused, eyes flicking to the hallway camera again. It means whatever footage exists of you acting unstable will suddenly become very relevant. I stared at him. Footage of what? Renee didn't answer. That was the answer. I went inside and locked the door with shaking hands. Then I stood in my own living room listening to the hallway like a prey animal. My phone buzzed again, this time my bank. Card declined. 24 or 63. Fred Meyer. I hadn't used my card since yesterday. I opened the banking app. Password failed. Tried again. Failed. Then, account temporarily locked due to suspicious activity. My breathing got shallow. It felt like someone was turning off lights in my life one by one. I did the only thing I could. I grabbed my wallet, my keys, my jacket, and drove through the rain to the carrier store off 82nd. The neon signs smeared in the windshield like tears. Inside, the air smelled like plastic and sanitizer. A teenager was comparing phones. A mom argued about her bill. Normal people problems. I wanted to scream. A rep named Chelsea pulled up my account and her face went careful in the same way Vic's had. There was an eSIM transfer request on Saturday, she said. I know, I said. I didn't do it. She nodded slowly, like she'd heard that sentence before. It was approved with the code. Then the code went somewhere else, I said. Or someone had my phone. Chelsea clicked through more screens. There's also a forwarding feature enabled. My heart stuttered. Forwarding? She hesitated. Some incoming messages can be mirrored to another device when the account is paired. It's not common, but it's possible. Mirrored. Like my life had been reflected onto someone else's phone while I stood there thinking I was alone. Can you tell me what device? I asked. She turned the screen slightly away. Company policy, privacy, the polite wall that always shows up exactly when you need a human being. I can't show you identifying details. Chelsea, I said, and my voice dropped into something I didn't recognize. Something desperate. Someone used my number to destroy my marriage and my job. I need something. She looked at me for a long beat, then slid me a printed receipt-style sheet with generic language. Timestamps, a transaction ID, the city listed as Portland, nothing else, except one line near the bottom. Account manager, secondary user added, Saturday, 9:58 p.m. Secondary user. My hands shook around the paper. Added by who? Chelsea's eyes flicked to mine, then away. I can't answer that. I walked out with rain hitting my face like punishment. In the parking lot, I stared at my car, suddenly unsure it was even mine anymore. When I got back to the apartment building, there was a note taped to my door. Not Marisol's handwriting. Not my landlord's cheerful printed font. Block letters, thick marker. Stop, or they file. I peeled it off and my fingers found a second paper underneath. Official looking, folded. At the top, Multnomah County. I didn't open it yet. My chest was too tight. I could hear the hallway camera's faint buzz above me. I could feel eyes through drywall. Then someone knocked. Not a neighbor knock. Not a friend knock. 2 heavy knocks, spaced like a decision. I opened the door and saw 2 uniformed officers standing under the blinking green light. One of them looked at my name on a clipboard and said, "Are you Mateo Rivera?" My mouth went dry. "Yeah." He nodded toward the folded paper in my hand. "We need to talk to you about a complaint, and we're going to ask you to step into the hallway." Behind them, down the corridor, I saw Tito again, half hidden near the stairs, phone raised like he'd been waiting for this moment. And I realized I wasn't walking into a conversation. I was walking into a scene someone had rehearsed. The officers didn't come in like TV. No shouting, no hands on guns. Just that calm tone that makes your stomach drop because it means paperwork, the kind that sticks. One of them kept his body angled toward the hallway camera like he knew exactly where it was. The other glanced once at Tito's phone and didn't care. "Step out here with us," the first officer said, "for everyone's comfort." Everyone's comfort. like my apartment hallway was a courtroom and I'd already been judged. I stepped into the hall and pulled the door mostly closed behind me. The green light above us blinked, 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 recording my breathing, my posture, the way my hands kept opening and closing like I needed to prove they were empty. The second officer held out the folded paper. "This is a notice. A complaint was filed. The complainant is requesting no contact." "No contact with who?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer would hurt. He read the name out loud like it was a weather report. Karina. My throat tightened. I heard a neighbor's door open a crack somewhere down the corridor. I didn't look. I kept my eyes on the paper because the second I looked like a guy reacting, I'd become a clip. "I haven't contacted her," I said. "Someone is using my accounts. My messages were deleted. My number." The first officer cut in, polite but firm. "Sir, we're not here to debate the details in the hallway. This is about immediate boundaries." He pointed to a paragraph with his pen. "You're not to contact Karina Lopez, directly or indirectly, including through friends, social media, or third parties. You're not to go to her workplace." "I don't even know her workplace," I said. He didn't react. That was the thing. Truth didn't matter when the story was already assembled. The other officer nodded toward my door. "And we need to ask, is your spouse inside?" "No," I said fast. "She left." "For her safety?" he asked. I felt my face heat. "She left because people told her to." They exchanged a glance. The first officer's voice softened into that fake empathy that still feels like control. "Sir, I'm going to advise you to keep distance and keep calm. Anything that looks like escalation, showing up places, confronting people, posting, will not help you." I almost laughed. Posting. Like I had any voice left to post with. Tito shifted his stance near the stairs. His phone lens was aimed right at my chest. The hallway camera blinked. A car alarm chirped outside, then stopped. The building settled into a silence that made every breath loud. "I want to see what they say I did," I told the officers. "I want the evidence." "That's not how it works," the second officer said. "You'll receive information through the process. Right now, this notice is your warning." He had me sign that I'd received it. Not that I agreed, just that I'd been handed the rope. When they walked away, Tito stayed behind for a second too long, still filming. "Tell them to stop," I said, not to him, because talking to him felt like stepping into a trap, but to the air, to the camera, to anyone who still knew me. Tito smirked like he'd already won. "You just make it worse when you talk," he said. Then he turned and went down the stairs, phone still up, like my humiliation was content. I went inside and locked the door. The click sounded too small for what it meant. I sat at the kitchen table with the Multnomah County paper spread out like a map of a place I didn't recognize. The words swam. Unwanted contact. Harassment. Safety concerns. It was written like I was a storm and she was a house. My phone buzzed, another unknown number. "You saw what happens when you don't listen. Now be quiet." I stared at it until the screen dimmed. Then, another buzz. Not a text. A voicemail from Renee. I didn't want to play it. Playing it felt like letting him into my head again. But I pressed it anyway because silence was worse. His voice came in low and fast, like he was speaking from a hallway too. "Mateo, I'm telling you as your friend, stop fighting the current. They've got Karina's brother running everything and Marisol's mom is pushing hard. Just don't do anything stupid. Don't come near anyone. Don't call anyone. Don't make them file the next thing." The message ended with a click. No, love you. No, call me. Just instructions. I sat there until my coffee went cold, then colder, then pointless. Around midnight, I got an email from HR. No greeting, no, hope you're well, just a sterile line that made my stomach fold in on itself. Due to developments involving law enforcement, your access remains suspended pending review. Developments involving law enforcement. Like I was already a liability they needed to scrub off the system. I tried logging into my bank again. Still locked. I tried my cloud photos. Password failed. I tried my email recovery. The recovery phone number ended in digits I didn't recognize. That was the third quiet horror. Realizing someone hadn't just borrowed my identity. They'd repointed my entire life to another destination, like forwarding mail. At 1:34 a.m., I heard my apartment door handle jiggle once. Not hard, not frantic, just a careful test, like a person with a key checking if it still worked. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The handle jiggled again, then stopped. A soft scrape, like something sliding against the door frame. Then silence. I waited a full minute, then another, before I crept to the peephole. The hall was empty, but taped to the outside of my door, right under where the peephole would catch it, was a small square of paper, folded tight. I opened it with shaking fingers. Inside was a printed screenshot. Not from my phone, not from my laptop. Clean, crisp, like it came off someone's home printer. A message thread labeled with my name, Mateo, and Karina's, and one line circled in red like a target. I can come by your place, tonight. Don't tell Marisol. Under it, typed like a signature. Delivered. 10:06 p.m. That timestamp, 10:06, was a minute before the fake calendar entry I found, meet K, 10:07 p.m. My skin went numb. Whoever did this wasn't guessing. They were syncing the lie like a playlist. My phone buzzed immediately after, like someone was watching the peephole too. A new text, unknown number. Check your email. There's a video now. I opened my email with the one password that still worked. Work had locked me out, friends had blocked me, bank was frozen, but this personal inbox was somehow still breathing. There was a new message. No subject. No sender name. Just a string of letters and numbers. One attachment. Hallway, MP4. My thumb hovered over it. My heart thudded so hard it felt like it was punching my ribs. Because I already knew what a hallway video could do. How a few seconds, cut right, could turn a man into a monster. And the green light above our door had been blinking all week. I tapped the file. The screen went black, then loaded. And the first frame was me. In my doorway, shot from above, the hallway camera angle, hands moving as if I was angry. Even though I remembered standing still, the video timer started counting. 0:01, 0:02, and then the audio kicked in, my own voice, saying something I swear I never said. I watched the hallway video 3 times in a row because my brain kept trying to protect me by saying, maybe you misheard. The clip showed me in my doorway under that blinking green light, hands moving, shoulders tense, like a man arguing. And then the audio hit. Yeah, I'll come by tonight. Don't tell Marisol. My own voice, my tone, my cadence. Except I remembered that moment. I remembered the air on my skin, the way my palms were open, the way I was trying to stay calm because I could feel the camera above us. I remembered thinking, don't give them a scene. So I did the only thing I still trusted, details. I downloaded the file and opened it on my laptop. The timestamp didn't match the email time by minutes. It matched by seconds, like it had been rendered and sent immediately. The file properties showed it had been created recently, not recorded that night. The audio waveform looked wrong, too clean, too even, like it had been pasted. I'm not some Hollywood forensics guy. I'm a warehouse supervisor who knows how to follow a process when something breaks. So I followed one. Step 1. Stop reacting where they can record it. Step 2. Get help from someone whose job is reality. At 7:30 a.m., I called a legal aid number I found for Multnomah County. My hands were shaking so bad I had to restart the call twice. A tired-sounding attorney named Ms. Patel listened without interrupting, then said something that felt like oxygen. Do not contact the complainant. Do not contact the group. Preserve everything. You're describing identity compromise and a coordinated smear. You need to make a report for identity theft and request evidence preservation from the property manager and your carrier. Evidence preservation. Those words turned the chaos into something with edges. I walked straight to the building office as soon as they opened. The property manager, a woman named Denise with a lanyard and a coffee that smelled burnt, looked at me like I was bringing drama to her quiet Tuesday. I need the raw hallway footage, I said. Not a clip, not a phone recording. Raw, and I need you to preserve it. She blinked. We don't give that to tenants. Then give it to the police, I said, and I hated how steady my voice sounded. Because someone is editing it and using it to file complaints. I've been told there's a video. There is. It's altered. Denise hesitated. Then her face shifted. Less annoyed, more cautious. She'd seen enough tenant wars to know when a story was getting dangerous. She didn't hand me a USB like a movie. She let me sit in her office while she pulled up the building system. I watched the raw feed from the night Renee and Tito showed up. And there it was. Me in the doorway, yes, but calm. Hands open. No aggressive steps. No lunging. No raised voice. My mouth barely moved. Then Denise clicked the audio track. The hallway camera had no audio. I stared at the speakers like they were about to confess a miracle. No audio? Hallway cams don't record sound, she said. Legal risk, we don't. That one sentence blew a hole straight through their whole proof. What about access logs? I asked. Denise frowned, clicked around, and her eyebrows lifted. Someone logged into the camera portal Sunday morning. From where? She squinted. Mobile device. In-building Wi-Fi range. My stomach dropped into place. Can you print that? Or email it to... No, she cut in, then softened. But I can note it, and I can preserve it. If police request it, we'll comply. I walked out of that office with a weird kind of steadiness. Not relief, not victory, just the first solid brick in a wall. Next stop, my carrier store again. I asked for a supervisor this time. I brought my ID, my lease, everything that proved I was me. A middle-aged guy named Marco pulled up the account and went quiet in the way people do when they see something that confirms your worst fear. Secondary user was added, he said. I know, I replied. Can you tell me who? He hesitated, then angled the screen slightly. Not enough for a clean photo, just enough for my eyes. A name. Full name. Tito Lopez. For a second, I couldn't breathe. It wasn't a theory anymore. It was typed into a system, like it belonged. He's not my family, I said, voice rough. He's not authorized. Marco nodded, already moving. We're removing him. Resetting your security pin. Disabling forwarding. New SIM profile. New recovery number. You need a new number if you want to be safe. I thought of the unknown texts, the timing, the way they always knew when I was outside the door. My voice came out small. Yeah. While Marco worked, my phone buzzed with a message from Marisol. Can we talk? Please, just talk. I stared at it until my screen dimmed. Then I texted back one sentence because Ms. Patel's voice was in my head like a seatbelt. Public place. Noon. Coffee shop on Burnside. When Marisol walked in, she looked smaller than I remembered. Not physically, emotionally. Like she'd been carrying other people's panic on her back and it was bending her. She sat across from me and immediately started crying. Quiet tears she kept wiping like they were embarrassing. They told me you'd hurt someone, she whispered. Who told you? I asked, gentle because I could feel how brittle she was. She shook her head. Everyone, my mom, Renee, Karina. They said Karina was scared, that you were escalating. They said if I didn't cooperate, I'd look like I was protecting you. Cooperate how? I asked, even though part of me already knew. Marisol's hands trembled around her cup. Renee asked for your phone at the party. He said you were drunk and he wanted to make sure you got home safe. He said he'd text people from your phone to calm things down. My chest tightened. Did you give it to him? She nodded once like a guilty child. For a minute, I thought it was normal. And after, I asked. Her eyes flicked away. My mom called me the next morning and said, Don't be stupid. Do what they say. Don't let him ruin your name. She told me to change the Wi-Fi password. She said it was safety. I felt something inside me go very still. Marisol, I said, low. Tito Lopez was added as a secondary user on my phone account Saturday at 9:58 p.m. Her face drained. No. Yes, I said, and the hallway camera doesn't record sound. Your video has audio. It's fake. She covered her mouth with her hand like she might be sick. Oh my God. I slid my phone across the table and showed her one screenshot, the account page with Tito's name before Marco removed it. Then I showed her the carrier transaction time. Then I showed her Denise's note about the login Sunday morning. Marisol stared like she was watching her own life get rewritten in reverse. I didn't know they'd go to the police, she whispered. I didn't know they'd go to your job. Renee said it was to stop you before you did something stupid. He said you'd sign an apology, go to therapy, and everyone would calm down. And you believed him, I said, not accusing, just stating what happened. She nodded, crying harder now. He kept saying he was protecting me. That's when it clicked, sharp and ugly. Renee didn't protect Marisol from me. He protected the group from the truth, and he protected himself from losing control of the story. Marisol reached into her purse and pulled out her phone with shaking hands. I have something, she said. She opened a chat thread and turned it toward me. A message from Renee, sent the night before, when I got the video email. If he doesn't stop, we send the hallway clip to HR and make it official. Tell him to be quiet. You're doing great. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. This wasn't just gossip. It was a campaign. By the end of that week, I had 3 folders: carrier records, building notes, and a timeline Ms. Patel helped me write like I was building a case against a ghost. I filed an identity theft report. I sent HR a statement through my attorney, with one key line that made them finally stop treating me like a threat. The hallway camera system has no audio. The circulated video contains audio and is therefore altered. HR didn't apologize. Corporations don't. But they shifted. They moved me off my team temporarily. They asked for more documents. They stopped using the word safety like a weapon and started using the word investigation like it meant fairness. As for the friend group, there was no big confrontation, no dramatic moment where everyone gathered and confessed. People just scattered. Karina didn't text me. Julio didn't call. Renee went silent, then blocked me on everything, like blocking could erase what he'd done. Marisol moved to her cousins. Her mother told everyone it was for peace. Renee tried to spin it like I was unstable. Tito stopped sending texts once my number changed and the forwarding died. And me? I sat alone in our apartment one last night, Portland rain tapping the window, and I realized the cruelest part wasn't the job, or the police, or the humiliation. It was how easy it was for people who once loved you to outsource their judgment to a group chat. Marisol came by to pick up the rest of her things 2 weeks later. We stood in the kitchen like strangers, the same countertop, the same magnets, the same coffee smell, and none of the same trust. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to betray you." "I believe you," I said, and it surprised her. "But believing you doesn't fix what happened." Her eyes filled again. "Can we try? Therapy? Rules? Something?" I thought about how quickly she'd been turned into an instrument, how quickly she'd turned me into an enemy, how my life had been repointed like an email forward. "I can forgive you," I said, "but I can't live inside a marriage that can be outvoted." She nodded like she understood, even if it broke her. When she left, the apartment felt too quiet, like it had been holding its breath for weeks and finally exhaled. I don't tell this story because I'm proud of it. I tell it because I learned something brutal and useful. Sometimes the person destroying you isn't a stranger in the dark. Sometimes it's your best friend, holding a phone like a weapon, smiling while the camera blinks.